For those who don't know me, my name is Hussein Fahmy. I'm an Egyptian actor. I was born in Cairo and I lived all my life in Egypt. I had my studies at the Academy of Arts in Egypt, and then I moved to the States. I went to Hollywood. I was a student at UCLA. This is where I received my Master of Fine Arts from there. Later on, I worked in Hollywood in a small outfit. We were making TV commercials, short documentaries. And then I came back to Cairo to direct my first movie. Unfortunately, I was taken into acting, and this was like 40 years ago. And I moved into television later on, making TV series. Some of them were very successful as well. So I would say very humbly that I had quite a beautiful career. On the side, I became an ambassador of goodwill for the UNDP, to United Nations, for about 10 years. Currently, I am a global ambassador for the Special Olympics. I've been there for about 11 years as well. So I would say that I was very lucky, and I was very happy for a fantastic career that I conducted. My father had his studies in Paris. He was a student at the École des Sciences Politiques. He studied politics. My mother as well was in Paris, and she studied literature at the Sorbonne. They both got married, and we were brought up in a house that was full of affection, full of love, full of interest in bringing up qualified children. My parents got us encyclopedias at home. Whenever I asked a question, it was in the encyclopedia. We had the Encyclopedia Britannica, we had the Larousse, which is a French encyclopedia, and whatever I asked a question, it was there in the encyclopedia. The amazing thing is that both sides of my family worked in politics. I live in a house full of politics and full of politicians coming to visit my father. At the age of 8, at 10, 12 years old, my parents used to have me sitting among them, listening to what's happening, listening to what they're talking about, without opening my mouth. And I would listen to these politicians talking about politics, whether it's internal politics, whether it's an external politics, what's happening in the world. At the time, there was as I said, the Second World War. There was the Nazis. There were the Germans on the border of Egypt. So it was a very active life. People were resenting the British occupation. It was a very active life that I felt I was in the midst of all this as a young boy. It has developed my character, definitely. Traveling, to me, has been a real inspiration because, again, I used to travel when I was young with my parents. My father, as I said, studied in Paris, so he took us to Paris when we were young, at the age of 8 and 10, walk around the streets. He never put us in a cab or a metro or whatever, any of these things. It was walking in the streets to learn about the city, and this is how I learned about Paris. I know Paris piece by piece due to my father's being there, of course, and then taking us around. And then we traveled to Italy. I went to Florence at a young age, where I saw all these arts and this artistic life that the Italians used to live in, as well as the beauty of Paris is unbeatable. It's cannot be compared with anything else that I've seen in my life. So at that time, I developed an idea that there is nothing called stereotype. The humanity is one thing. We are all humans. We are all human beings. We all look alike. We all have the same sentiments. We have the same affection. We have love and hate in our souls. We have definitely many things in common. All through my career, of course, with the movies and the parts that I played, we tackled a lot of the problems, social problems. And definitely there are a lot of social problems, and we need to tackle them and we need to handle them. The thing that I found very intriguing in my way of developing a certain opinion, if I may say that, and the thing that interested me the most was the disables. The disabled people, I believe that they have a certain capability, and I believe that they have a certain, let's say, a certain way of looking at life they are not really disabled. I find a lot of healthy people that they look healthy, but they are more disabled than people that are really mentally disabled or physically disabled. So this is a subject that I've always tackled, and I always wanted to tackle. Mentally disturbed people, I played certain parts in that reference. And this is something that really interests me. And that's why, I guess that's why I have been a global ambassador for the Special Olympics for so many years, like 11 years, I think. It's something that has always been interesting to me. In the movies I play, I always look for an important theme. To me, is very important. It's a theme that has to do with the society. It has to do with our well-being. It has to do with humanity. It has to do with the human being, with the Egyptian person in particular, and mankind in general. To me, the Mediterranean is part of my feelings, my emotions. It's part of my culture. The Mediterranean is a basin, and this basin has so many nations around it. And you would find that the same characteristics of every nation that is on the Mediterranean basin is very similar. We're very close to each other. What we can do more is actually to expose the new inventions in this industry, because again, motion picture is an industry. So there are new ideas, there are new maybe equipments, new machinery that we can use that have been developed in different countries in the Mediterranean basin, and we can expose these experiments, we can expose these exercises between us into workshops. We can have this, we can be even introduced to new inventions, if there are any inventions coming up from different countries. Mediterranean comes from the word mid-terranean. Yeah, it's the middle of the world. Mediterranean basin is the middle of the world. We have to realize that. To us, it is the middle of the world. If I would choose one word to describe the Mediterranean basin, I would say serenity. And the reason why I say that is that I feel that people living on the Mediterranean are very serene. They have a certain way of life, a certain easy way of life, looking at life in a pleasure way, in a pleasurable mood. And that's why I said serenity. Serenity is something that we all drive to reach.